Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about something that once you sort of start to notice it, you can't not notice it anymore, and that's the condition of parenting. The amount of parents, typically mothers, but the amount of parents who are they're such professional victims. They've come through the NGO indoctrination machine, through the Western education indoctrination machine, and they've got, to say the least, some very perverse views on the world, the people in it, and how they must behave and act in this world. So some very strange. Now you see this when unfortunately, quite a few of these people, not all, but quite a few of them, end up being mothers. And when you're in sort of the grocery stores and the supermarkets and the department stores, all that sort of thing, you can see the behaviour of these women and how they relate and treat their children. Now, what's got me doing a video is I saw one today. I ducked into the grocery store quickly to grab a couple of things on the way past, and there was a youngish woman there. I doubt she'd have been 30, and she had a boy, I would think about 4 years old, between 3 and 4 years old, and really not much more than a toddler. And she, in a very imperious tone, demanded that he picked up something off the shelf and hand it to her. Now, she could very easily have reached over and got it herself, but for what, and you could almost see it taking shape. This is like a set piece thing. She's setting a situation up here. And so she demands this young boy, the 4-year-old boy, that he picks up something off the shelf. Now hand it to me. So he then goes to hand it to her, and she puts her hand out to take it. And then just the last minute, as he's sort of putting in her hand, she moves her hand away and the item falls on the floor. Now, clearly she set that whole thing up. Now it's starting to take shape, and I'm going, okay, she premeditated this. She's setting it up. Then as soon as the item hits the floor, she then scolds him quite verbally. She doesn't hit him running, but scolds him verbally. How dare you throw that at me? How dare you throw that? How dare you do that? And she really, the vehemence is quite intense. And he's looking quite bewildered. Now, he's not at an age where he can say, hey, hold on a minute, Mum. I was putting in your hand, you moved your hand away, you silly fucking bitch. He's not at an age where he can do that. He wants his mother's love and everything. So he's not going to do that sort of thing, nor is he at an age where he could apply that level of reasoning. So, and she continues to scold him. Now, pick it up. I say, pick it up. I said, pick it up. And again, he's looking quite bewildered. What have I done? Why are you shouting at me like this? So he picks it up. Now, put it on the shelf. Put it back on the shelf. I said, put it back now. And the kid's sort of doing it. But she's attacking him. You're too slow. You do and the whole thing was an orchestrated event. It never needed to happen. So she wanted something. She was creating a situation where she could claim to be and position herself as a victim. He threw it at me. He threw it at me, and I'm a victim. So I had every right to tell him off and give him some serious verbal discipline because he threw it at me. I'm not going to have him treating women like that. Oh, I won't have that. So that sort of thing. And so now that's not the sort of the only one. And I've seen a number of these things within a relatively short space of time. So here's another one where there's a woman with 2 youngest children, probably, I don't know, 6 or 7, somewhere around there. And a boy, maybe a little bit younger, but around 5, maybe the girl's 7, about that. And so the boy's running. He's got like some little kite or something that he's playing. And so the mother, for some reason, says, stop that and come here. Come here. and he's like coming. It's not like he's not coming, but she's sort of scolding him that maybe he's not coming quick enough or something. Yeah, I'm not really sure. No, I'm watching this. I'm actually walking the neighbour's dog in the park. The neighbour's gone away, and I said that I'd walk the dog and feed it for them. Or my wife and I, we take it in turns. So I'm there, and then so the boy comes to. He's standing close. I said, "Come here." So then he comes to the point where he's touching her. Stop pushing me! Will you stop pushing me? You're pushing me. You're pushing me. Don't push me. Now, again, this is a very unstable woman who's orchestrated the whole thing. But again, the overarching reasoning seems to be that she can create an environment of victimhood for herself, and then blame the child for victimizing her when she's orchestrated and set up and stage managed the whole event. The issue that she's vehemently blaming him for doing only what she's told him to do. Now, again, that look of bewilderment that on that kid's face in the park with the kite, and the look of bewilderment on the kid's face in the grocery store was about the same. You could see it's that same. What have I done? Why are you doing this? You can see it's the same. That now I don't know what effect that. Again, this is very rehearsed and practiced by this woman or both these women. So clearly they're doing it on a frequent basis or frequent enough. I don't know. I mean, what effect will that have on the kid? But how fucked up must any parent be that wants to do that to a child? I don't understand that. What would make them do it? I just can't get my head around it, other than that they are so fucked up, these women, that they shouldn't be allowed anywhere near children, and how they could attract a man who would impregnate them is yet another mystery. The one today in the grocery store was sort of blonde and slimish and everything, so I suppose she could just on looks alone. The one in the park was quite brutish, if not butchy, so I'm surprised that she could. But anyway, they are. Now, there was another situation where, again, in a store, this was in another store, I think it was like a furniture store or something, and there's this very large woman there. I mean, she's a furniture removalist, given her build. And she could lift a grand piano, one under each arm, but she very, she'd be, I don't know, 6'3", 250 pounds, sort of 115, 120 kilograms, that sort of thing. So she's got a half caste kid that given the look, I suggest would be like a Polynesian islander. Some of those guys are like really big. So I'm assuming that was the liaison that created the kid. Now, she again, the scenario is actually the architecture of the scenario is not that different. She wanted the kid to give her something that he had, and so he did, and he was a little bit slow. So I said, "Give it to me," with again that vehement sort of castigating tone in the voice. So the kid did, and then she said that the kid had assaulted her. Don't be so rough. Don't you assault me. You know what happens to boys that hurt women. They go to prison, don't they? Yes, they do. That was the dialogue there. Holy fuck! What a fucked up woman. So I'm assuming that she's got together with a very large and substantial, Pacific Islander, the third world guy. Somehow they got, she's sort of blonde and quite fair, so I imagine that would have attracted him, the novelty of it. And I would imagine, given her behaviour and bristling attitude, that she did everything she could to provoke him to a point where he'd clobber her, and then she could rush to the police and claim victimhood. It can't be easy when you're like 6'3" and weigh 250 pounds to as a woman to claim victimhood, but and maybe it's her frustrated attempts to create to claim and revel and bask in this victimhood, but the way she castigated the boy. Now, I've seen other examples of this that are play out along very similar lines. Just one, this is not to do with a child, but a woman it was quite a busy sort of queue at a very busy delicatessen, and there was a woman in the front row who was getting her order packed up, or whatever it was, and then the sales assistant came to the who else, and then a guy who stood behind this woman said, half a dozen bagels or something, whatever it was, and he did that, and the woman in front of him jumped, or pretend like a very theatrical sort of jump, and do you have to shout with such a loud voice and stop pushing me? Now, I was just to the other side of where this woman was. The guy didn't talk in a particularly loud voice. It was a busy thing, so I suppose his voice was, above average, but nothing more than was necessary for those circumstances. And he didn't touch her. He was nowhere near her. There was a good foot plus, if not 30 centimeters, gap between him and the woman. So, the guy said, the guy instantly came back. So I didn't touch you. And this is an adult, by the way. These aren't children. I didn't touch you. And then the woman said, oh, yes, you did. Yes, you pushed me. But the tone of her voice was, I want to be a victim. You pushed me. You made me a victim. Ah! Now, I don't know how many unstable women like this are around. She was youngish, I don't know, mid to late 20s, I suppose. And I'm guessing she's a primary school teacher or someone involved in the victim industry in a peripheral sense. But just looking at those situations, what sort of people are we creating in this Western world? If I'm seeing that many people in the narrow scope of what I see, how many are out there? How many fucked up people are out there? And what is happening? And these people are bringing up children, and they're going to inculcate their insecurity and their instability and just their mental fragility. They're pushing this now onto a whole generation of new children. Even if the children don't take up the mantra of the globalist inspired LGBTQ trans type victimhood stuff, they're still going to be, I would think, given what I'm seeing, they're still going to be deeply affected by those sorts of things. And there's also, they're creating, especially with young girls, they're creating yet another generation, a professional victim class, where women are going to be they're so desperate to become victims that if a guy walks within 100 meters of them, he called me, he's a misogynist and I'm a victim. Hey, where's the police? Arrest the motherfucker. How dysfunctional can you make a society when you have that many dysfunctional people bringing up the next generation? You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.